Only 15% of you will watch this video until the end. In a few minutes, most of you will be gone. You're probably scrolling right now to check the other videos below this one or reading the comments. Perhaps you click on one of the videos with a crazy thumbnail and a crazy title. And then you'll do it again and again until you get a notification from TikTok or Instagram. One of your friends sent you a video, a funny one. So you click on it and you watch it, and then you scroll again for goodness knows how long. I've fallen for this too. In fact, I've been a victim of social media addiction. I used to find it hard to read books, to focus for a few hours, and I felt like I was never really there. But what worries me the most is not that I wasted my time. It is that all of you watching this video are going through the same thing. If you stay with me for the next few minutes, I will tell you why, who, and how to train your brains back into normal. Because oh my god, brain rot is real. Why? Human connection has kept us alive for millions of years, in a world of scarcity and ever-present danger. Our brains release dopamine when we make human connections. Therefore, we'll be looking to do it again. Social media is human connections on steroids because our brains release much larger amounts of dopamine and makes it as addictive as heroin. Literally. Then we see something we like. So dopamine is triggered by our brain's search and explore function, making us want to pay attention to it. But obviously, the algorithms are gonna milk that attention by putting more content that you like in your phone for as long as you can take. And then, when you get off, your brain is left in a dopamine deficit state because of the constant stimulation you just surpassed, which is why you feel so horrible after you log off. Who is doing this? In order for me to help you understand who is doing this and who is behind it all, we need to understand what feudalism is. The feudal system was a dominant social system in medieval Europe, in which the nobility held lands for the crown in exchange for military service, while peasants or serfs were obliged to live in their lord's land and give him homage, labor, and a share of the produce they made in exchange for military protection. You may be thinking, so they were slaves? Well, they technically weren't, because they would sign contracts. But they were born into poverty and rarely had an option to live a free life. So, in that aspect, you could say they were slaves. You may be asking yourselves how this has anything to do with who is doing this. What if I told you that there was a parallel contrast between the feudal system then and the current digital ecosystem? You are a peasant. I know that sounds harsh, yet that is how major tech companies view you. You see, basing off the fact that you're watching this video, you're a user. You, as a peasant or a serf of this system, produce and surrender data to the algorithms every single day for many hours. Of course, you do this voluntarily. You don't have to be a slave to the system, yet consent sort of disappears in this process. I believe that when you click on the "Yes, I agree" button on the terms and conditions after making an account, it's similar to how medieval peasants would quote-unquote willingly sign contracts to obligate themselves to become slaves. We give them access to our data, and they do with it God knows what. I'm obviously not saying that this is as brutal of a contract or agreement to what it used to be, yet I'm not saying that it is optional to participate in it, since it isn't just social media. It's anything in need of Wi-Fi. If you have a phone, you have to make an account. If you have a smart TV or a computer, you will be giving data day to day to these major tech companies. The gentry or low courts of these digital systems are the staff that these companies choose to hire. The minor gentry are the influencers of the system. And they are the people who gain income from social media. Even though they're not direct employees, they get paid for bringing users to the platform and making them stay for long periods of time. They are also obligated to the platforms and their sponsors that will both disappear if they choose to talk about topics that are controversial and non-beneficial to the sponsors or tech companies' policies. The biggest influencers of the industry of digital gentry can gain a lucrative full-time job from the platform as rewards from the platform lords, yet they never gain actual liberty from data collection and exploitation. It only ever increases for them. The lords of the digital system. These are people who can and therefore hold massive platforms and your data. While you may consider them evil or maleficent, they're just humans, people like you and me. And many of them attempt to be altruists or good people. Many of them believe they are, but they're still running corporations whose sole purpose is to make money. Therefore, they cannot become good or do good. You may think it is their fault that we're addicted to social media and the billions of people that are victims to the system. But they're not. It is all of us. If there weren't any users, there wouldn't be influencers. And if there were no influencers, there would be no users. Without neither of them, the lords or owners of these major tech companies would dissipate. It's a cycle we are all fitting into. We are not only sabotaging ourselves, but every single one in the digital ecosystem. And lastly, how to train your brain back into normal. I believe that once you know that we are currently under a digital system which only wants to capitalize off of our data and time, is when you will finally be able to stop your brain from rotting. First, you should delete all of the apps that you don't use or need. For example, TikTok. Unless you make money off of it, you may think you need it for entertainment, but there's also entertainment in so many other places. Your life, and even in other platforms. Something else I did and would recommend you to do is time block with apps, because if you do it with your settings, it won't be as useful because it is very easy to break out of. I use other apps like Audible or Freedom. The last thing, which is the most important thing, is exchange scrolling with a different habit, like something that you genuinely like or a habit that you can learn from. This is why I am partnering with today's sponsor, Audible, a subscription service that offers audiobooks, podcasts, and more to give you a free month plan that you can try out and cancel anytime you'd like. If you are interested, click the link in my description or the pinned comment on this video for the free month trial. The videos, sources, articles, essays that inspired and backed up this video, they will all be linked down below. Thank you, and until the next time, bye.